To make your business work online, most entrepreneurs think, oh, I need a website. But after 15 years of building websites, I can confidently tell you that having a website is not what's going to make your business start working online. What you actually need is a clear path from attention to trust to action. Now, your website is part of that pathway, but it is not the entire system. So in this video, I'm going to show you the map I wish I had had when I started building websites way back when. And it shows you how the different pieces that lay underneath your business's success, underneath your website, how they're connected. We're going to talk about how your website, your email, your forms, your CRM, your payment tools all fit together. Because once you have this map in your hand, you can stop chasing tools, start building flow, and watch your business grow. The first websites I ever built were in corporate America, and I was responsible for creating what went on the website, the copy, the images, the buttons, the calls to action. And I thought that that's what the most important part of your online presence was, the part that people could see, right? But when I got out of big tech and I left to go do something more meaningful with my life, I quickly realized that I had only learned a part of the process. Because now nobody was handing me a pre-built website to fill with content. Now I had to understand the whole thing. I had to understand the business parts, where I understood the business structure and the offers and the pricing. I had to understand who my audience was, what they needed, what their pain points were, and what they cared about. I had to understand how my website was organized to support the customer's journey so that I wasn't overwhelming that customer when they first landed on the website, and I could guide them through the stages of awareness, consideration, and decision-making with just the right kind of information at just the right part in the journey. I also had to understand the technical underpinnings of the whole business building process. I call this the internet plumbing. You might have heard me use that term before, but I had to understand who was hosting the site, who was providing the email services that I was relying on, who was giving me the ability to collect payments through my website, how was I tracking my customers, and how were all of these different tools linked together behind the scenes so that there was a smooth path of action, not only for my customers going through the website to get to my offers, but also for me as the business owner, knowing that I didn't have to manually support each task behind the scenes, that my website was basically going to be like a full-time employee for my business. And when I first started building things, I thought, oh, there's no way I can learn all of this. So I did what many entrepreneurs do, and I hired a website builder. And I thought this website builder was going to be the answer, right? But I thought she was going to be able to hook together all of this structural stuff so I could go back to doing the content, which was the part I was comfortable with. But it didn't work at all. In fact, it completely failed because that website designer was waiting for me to hand her the blueprint, and I still didn't have one. So I learned that the stuff that lives under the surface, both on the business side of things and the technical side of things, is not actually as complicated as we have been led to believe. It's actually not that complicated at all once you have a map. And by a map, I mean the part that explains how everything fits together to create the structure of your business. This is why I created Internet Plumbing. And I'm going to share these lessons that I wish I had known before I got started with all of this with you so that you don't have to make the same mistakes I did. Lesson number 1, your website is not your online business. The website is the visible part of a system that has an underground part that you don't typically see. This is the underlying digital infrastructure that supports your business through your website and through your other tools. So this is the takeaway. If something's not working, don't redesign your homepage. Again, your homepage might be fine. If something is feeling messy, First, look under the hood and see if everything is connected properly, and if the pathways that people need to go down, we call them workflows, if those aren't working correctly, that's where you need to start. Lesson number 2. Buttons are not just calls to action. They're actually triggers that start something called a workflow. When somebody clicks a button on your website, something is supposed to happen. You collect information, you send it somewhere, the person who clicked the button gets something via email, or they land on a landing page. You as the business owner get information that you can store to follow up with that person later. This is what's supposed to happen when somebody clicks on a button. So the fastest way to troubleshoot your online business infrastructure is to pick one key button on your website and follow it all the way through the steps of the workflow that are supposed to happen when that button gets pressed. I created a website click audit. You can get that on my website for free. So if you want to figure out if your plumbing is working, the quickest way to do that is by tracking the workflow that gets triggered by a specific button on your site. Lesson number 3. Your business needs a blueprint before it needs a prettier website. Look, I like a great design, layout, colors, copy, images, but design alone cannot solve a missing strategy problem. Before you try and make your website look better, you need to understand, who is it for? What do they care about? What does each page on my website need to provide that person with so that they take the next step? This is why a lot of people will hire a designer and then still feel stuck, because a designer can build a website and they can make it pretty, but they cannot magically Vulcan mind meld with you and extract a fully formed business architecture from your brain to set behind your website. And that's why you need to create a blueprint first. Lesson 4. The backend technology behind your website is a lot less scary when you stop treating it like magic. I know it sounds intimidating. Automation, integrations, DNS, lots of acronyms. But when you actually look into what these tools do, most of them are just routing information somewhere. The DNS points to where your website lives. The automation tells the data that that person just put into your website where to go so you can store it. The integrations teach the applications how to talk to each other. You do not have to become a website developer to make this work. It is not magic. If you can learn to understand what's going on behind the scenes, then you have the ability to make sure that it's built properly and that it works so that your business works. So stop treating it like magic and just learn to understand what's going on back there so that you can focus on your real work and not worry about the wizard behind the curtain behind your website. Lesson number 5, and this one's a big one. I wish I had known earlier on that feeling of overwhelm that I get when I look at technology and I don't understand it is not a matter of the capacity of my brain to understand what's going on. It's about the visibility of the pathway behind the scenes. So if you can't see what's going on, everything seems like chance, roll of the dice. When you learn to make those invisible systems visible, suddenly it stops feeling personal and starts feeling like something you can actually optimize and tune and make work. So quickly to recap, your website is just the visible layer of your online business infrastructure. There's more to it than just the website. 2, a button starts a workflow that creates a flow of information and action that makes your business work. Number 3, you need a blueprint for your business before you worry about a design for your website. Number 4, the scary back-end stuff is mostly just routing information. Don't be scared of it. And number 5, all that overwhelm that you're feeling, the frustration, the procrastination, all of that starts to loosen up once you start to see what was invisible before. Therefore, all you really need to get rid of that overwhelm is a good map. All right, I'm going to give you some homework. The quickest way to start troubleshooting your online business system is to trace one click from your website through to all the rest of your systems. So pick a button. Pick a button that's tied to what you want your visitors on your website to do most. And trace that click from where it happens to the next step, to the next step, to the next step. This is why I created the free website click audit. You can get that on my website. There's a link up in my bio that takes you to get that. It's a one-page graphical image that takes you through the process of tracing your click through all of the invisible systems. When you do this, you'll be able to see if the systems that you have are working properly. And if you don't have the right systems in place, you'll be able to see what's missing. I know there's a lot of people out there talking about online business success and marketing programs and all of that stuff. What I'm really passionate about is exposing this under the hood internet plumbing so that you can feel like you are supported by the technology that you're using, and you can get back to using your time and your gifts and your energy to do the work you really came here to do, which was probably not screwing around with your website. All right, get that free website click audit. And if you have any questions, that's what the Commons is there for, or you can reach out to us directly. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video, and I hope you have a great day.